Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a video on study tips, and you definitely want to stay tuned because I have 10 very helpful study tips that can help you really engage in material and things like that. And I also mentioned the 3 types of learners there are, and you can use this information to help you study and understand how you need to study that will make you very successful in your academic growth and how you just understand things. So if you'd like to learn how my study tips work and things like that, keep on watching. Okay, so there's 3 types of learners. There's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. A visual learner usually takes a lot of notes. They usually like to sit in the front of the class. They're usually very neat and organized. If they can see something, they can usually understand it. So they're like the visual people. They have to see it to kind of understand it. That fits me like personally 100%. An auditory learner is someone that if they hear something, if they hear how to do it, they can usually do it. They can understand it very easily. They like to listen in lectures and stuff like that. A kinesthetic learner is a very hands-on person. So if they're the one doing the project, they can usually understand it. I'm kind of a mixture of all 3 of those, but I'm mostly visual. Okay, my study tip number 1 is to engage with the material. Go beyond just trying to memorize it. Because I know every time I did something, I just try to memorize it. But if you think of why this happened or how it happened, this will definitely help you on tests. Because on tests, there's a lot of questions that ask you just what you memorized and stuff like that. But it also asks you, why do you think this happened? Other things beyond just what you learned. That's usually what tests are. They're not always what you know. It's just thinking, why do you think this happened and stuff like that. So if you go engage with the material, think, why do you think this happened? Just quickly ask yourself, why do you think this happened? Quickly think about why you think it is, answer it to yourself, and then on a test, if that's there, you already know why you think this happened and stuff like that. So kind of go beyond just trying to memorize it. Engage with the material a little bit more than trying to memorize things, because this will definitely help you understand test questions, understand the topic better, things like that. My study tip number 2 is to always repeat things. Usually, it doesn't really matter what learner you are. Repeating things can help you definitely go into your LTM, your long-term memory. So just repeat them a lot. Say them aloud though, because if you kind of just say them in your mind, you can be kind of off topic. You won't be like fully engaged with the material. You might not think a lot about it. So if you actually say it out loud, you have to think about saying it. So that will kind of help you stay engaged a little bit more with the material. So say it out loud, repeat things. Say the question aloud and then answer it to yourself. And then say the question and then think about the answer and then say the answer. So definitely repeat things. This could definitely help you get your information into your LTM, long-term memory. Okay, so my 3rd tip is to look over your studying materials right before you go to bed. So right as you get into bed, just quickly flip through your pages. You don't have to spend like 20 minutes looking through it. Just spend about 2-4 minutes looking at the material real quickly. Because I've read in the study, my teacher also told me like, right when you go to bed, if you just looked at your study materials, your brain will still process what you've just learned, like when you're sleeping and things like that. It can definitely help like get things into your long-term memory. It's sorting things and figuring out why that works and stuff like that. So if you just look at your information just like right before you go to bed, it will help you like memorize things. I've done this a couple times and it's definitely helped me. So just definitely look at the information really fast right before you go to bed. You don't have to look at it hardcore and try to figure out everything, but just quickly glance over it, and that should definitely kind of just help your brain. It may not help a lot, but it does end up helping just a little bit. Here's my 4th study tip. This is where you can apply it to whatever learner you are, or if you're a combination of all of them, but it's make study cards. So since I'm a visual learner, I like to take notes a lot. I like to be very neat and things like that. This is what I did. But if you're an auditory learner or something, have someone ask you like a question and then have them ask you why you think that happened. Or if you're a kinesthetic learner, have them make something that makes you have a hands-on understanding of it. So make something that makes you have to do something hands-on. And this can really help you engage in the material too. So basically just use whatever tip whatever learner you are to make this tip, like a kinesthetic, you can just make something to help you be hands-on to understand it better. Things like that. Flashcards for visual, auditory. I don't know. You can have yourself say it to yourself, like repetition, like I just said. Things like that. 5. Rewrite your notes. If you don't write notes, then this is totally fine, but usually I've read it like everywhere, heard everything. Once you like leave a classroom after hearing it, like maybe like 24 hours later, you forget about 60% of the material, something like that. You forget a lot of the material in a very short amount of time if you don't review it. So when you get home, if you have time, I know sometimes you don't have time, I want to start making this a priority. But I'm going to rewrite my notes. I saw this one girl, she wrote her notes all in the same pen, so they're not in just like pencil all mixed up, they all look the same. That's definitely what I'm going to start doing, because usually when you take notes, you're writing very fast. You don't really know what you're writing sometimes because you're trying to write everything down, but once you get home, it's just a short amount of time after, and you can kind of realize, oh, that's what this meant, and write that down instead of just saying, what did this mean? You can kind of think back to the lecture or what your class really quickly, because if you wait a couple weeks later, you may not be able to recall that information and figure out what you wrote down and what that meant. So rewrite your notes, because this will kind of help get in your memory too, because like your nerves will kind of remember it, something like that. It will like send like nervous waves up to your brain, something like that. But like rewriting things definitely helps you remember things. Number 6. Well, that's not 6, that's 10. Number 6. Look at your notes daily. I know this is kind of a pain. I know on a lot of videos I watched about this, they're like, I know it may be irritating to do, and you may not have time for this, but if you just review your notes for at least 5 minutes, it will definitely help you recall information. So this will help avoid cramming, because you won't have to study as hard, because if you review your notes daily, then you won't have to try to memorize all of it at once or trying to memorize all of it, because you will have like most of it memorized in your notes. So if you review them, you'll just like know most of it, so when it comes to a test, you don't need to review a lot. Number 7, take short breaks. Short breaks. If you spend a lot of time like cramming, or not cramming, but if you just spend a lot of time studying for a long amount of time, your brain can kind of get tired. So after a while, your brain just won't comprehend it as easily. So if you take a couple short, maybe 5-10 minute breaks, it will definitely kind of help relieve stress and give you a break from it. You don't need to be constantly working your brain out that hard for a super long time. So take a couple breaks. This will definitely kind of help relieve any stress you may have. My tip number 8, ask your teacher questions. Ask them what they will think will be on the test. If they make the test, ask what will be on the test, because usually if they don't tell you exactly, they'll give you a pretty good idea. Ask what you can use to help you study. Like if they give you a couple textbook pages, definitely use that. Ask your teacher, use the information that they give you, because their information is the information that's pretty much on the test, if not on the test. So definitely ask your teacher questions if you don't understand something, because you really want to make sure you know what you're talking about and what you're doing before you go into test day. Okay, so this is my 9th tip. This is so helpful. I use this all the time. I found out after learning this was like the best thing ever. Picture the information. So I saw this one video on YouTube where it said, alright, I'm going to list a ton of things out, and I want you to picture whatever I'm going to say on a certain body part. So like it said, I don't know, like a tree, picture it on your head. Then like, let's do a tree, then you can do a chicken on your shoulder, and then a ship on your belly button or something like that. So if you can picture it like that, you can remember it in that exact same order. A tree on my head, a chicken on my shoulder, a ship in my belly button. Like, see, you can remember it very easy. So picture the information you need to know on a certain body part, like your arm or something, because trust me, I don't know how I remembered all of it. Like, it was amazing. I like remembered everything in the perfect order, and they listed like maybe 30 things, and I could do it. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So if you picture it on a certain body part, like just saying a tree on my wrist, or whatever you need to know, like the scientific theory on my hand and then list out the things in the theory, like on your fingers, something like that, breaking it down. I don't know. If you picture it on a certain body part, it really, really helps. That's what I do, and it's like amazing how well it helps. And my 10th tip is to learn main ideas first, details second. If you're trying to learn details and main ideas at the same time, it can be kind of hard because you're gonna get stressed out and things. So learn the main ideas first. Don't try to learn all the details because you need to learn the main idea first, because you can't learn details until you learn the main idea. So definitely learn main ideas and then your details, because if you try to memorizing all that at once, it can be kind of difficult and you're kind of overwork your brain. So learn main ideas, then your details. This is kind of an 11th tip, study way before the test. Don't study like a couple days before. If they tell you a couple weeks in advance, start studying then, because you won't have to study as hard then. You can study little bits at a time instead of trying to study all of it at once. And yeah, so I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any more tips, leave them down below. Please subscribe for more videos. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.